Hello everyone, it's Mary, and it's time for another Monday Morning Leadership Bite, except for it's not morning, it's not Monday. I'm in my kitchen, and I'm with friends, with wine. So what gives? So this is Liz and Angela, and Liz and Angela are visiting me. We met at Crossroads, my church, and we met at women camp, and Angela led as the camp host. And Liz and I were participants, and that group has stayed in touch and stayed together. And it's morphed, but it is, for the most part, it has stayed together. And they're down visiting, and we've had a weekend full of belly laughter and crying, like ugly crying, and food and adventures throughout rural Alabama, and just having a really great time, just enjoying each other's company. And in one of our conversations, they mentioned to me that they were going to be co-leading another women camp. And they've led individually, but they decided they felt called to be co-lead this time. And we thought, we'll talk about co-leading for this leadership bite. And let me define it. So leadership, co-leading is literally leading with another person, right? Whether you're sharing responsibilities, but another person leading a team, a group, a company, whatever it might be, but you are co-leading those responsibilities. So I think the first thing to do is to talk about the types of co-leading. So hierarchical comes to mind, where in which you have someone who is going to be sort of the top person, and maybe you have a second in command. That's one type of leadership. Liz?
I think another type could be developmental, where you have a more experienced and a less experienced, person coming together to co-lead together.
Yeah.
I think partnership is important. You have a 50-50. It's a take and give just at certain times when you feel like one needs to do a little bit more than the other, but then right there alongside one another, knowing that you're equal.
Yeah. And I'd say alongside that, I would go with co-competencies, in which someone brings something specific, some specific skill to the table, and you can leverage those skill sets. So you guys make the decision. I think the benefits of co-leading is dividing up the responsibilities and to be able to leverage other strengths. So what were some of the other benefits you think to co-leading?
I think the support that we can provide to one another is definitely a key. Just kind of going to the trenches together and having someone else there with you.
Yeah.
And just bringing different experiences to the table, knowing that we have each led at different times, and now we're just taking on a different role, so we have different opinions and different thoughts on maybe what might work better this time around.
Yeah. And then definitely you guys can gain some insights in terms of feedback, right? And that's important. I think in general, if we only feedback, and we don't like it sometimes because we don't want to hear the negative news, but it's important that we can gain feedback, and that's some of the benefits. So we came up with some tips for co-leading, and one is the first tip is being aware. Awareness is always key, and awareness of the type of co-leading relationship you're in, as well as the goal of the co-leading that you're in, and making sure you understand that. Liz, some other tips?
I would say to make sure that there's agreement ahead of time. So to understand fully who's responsible for what, and also how you're going to hold one another accountable.
Yeah. Angela?
I would say knowing when to step up as a leader, and then when to just kind of fade into the background and let the co-leader step up with just what they have to offer. Everybody brings something to the table, and I think that's important to recognize that and let them have the floor.
Yeah. And I think along with that, understanding your strengths, what you bring to the table for those experiences that you might have, but also your limitations. We think we can do everything. We don't need another person, which is why so many people lead for themselves. But it's nice to have someone that says, you know what, I don't do this well. You do that part well, and you allow for those limitations. There's someone else to do that instead. So thank you for joining us on Sunday. We want you to like, share, comment. What types of leadership, co-leading have you been in? If that worked for you, I would love to hear your comments below on that. And this has been another episode of Monday Morning Leadership Bites on Sunday with wine.
Cheers.
Cheers.
She's back.
Are you sure I can't women's camp.
Wine. This is gonna be bad.
Should I grab the
course,
bottle so we can
I
refill our
think so.
glass?
Of course, this will be my highestly viewed one or something. This will be my luck. Like 10,000 views. 10 more people will subscribe on YouTube. All right.
Did it go?
Yep, let's go. Shoulders are back.
Deep breath.
All ready. This is Sunday night leadership fight
Cheers.
with wine.
Cheers. I think we should add that.
Spit takes.
See? I heard you. Hierarchical.
Types of leadership. Co-leading.
Hierarchical. You didn't turn on
There's
yet,
all
did you?
on top.
Yeah, it's on.
Partnership. Co-partnership.
What?
There.
Co-partnership. Hierarchical.
Developmental.
Developmental.
Partnership.
Partnership.
Co-competency.
Co-competency.
Shoulders are back. Boobs are up. This has been another episode of Monday Morning Leadership Bites on Sunday with wine.
Cheers.
Cheers.